From the new recording lair located deep beneath the Wine and Spirit store in Ephrata, Pennsylvania.
You're listening to the Masonic Light Podcast.
Studio 665 presents Masonic Light Podcast. This show is recorded by Masons, for Masons, and is for entertainment purposes only. And please, no wagering.
This podcast is not endorsed by any Grand Lodge, and the ridiculous ramblings of the hosts are their own. And now, here's your host.
Hey, everybody. It's the Masonic Light Podcast. Episode number 174.
Oh, 174.
Wow.
There's like a pin or something for 175, right?
There is.
Don't we get a medallion?
I think we get a medallion.
175 is my favorite number.
There you go.
All right. Well, today is a very significant episode.
Tell us why, Tim.
It is because on this episode, rewound 8 years ago, Masonic Light Podcast was one episode year old.
One episode. It was the first episode,
yes.
is what you're saying. Okay.
Yes. Wow. 8 years ago, we recorded the first episode of the Masonic Light Podcast.
They recorded.
Yes.
So props
Larry
to...
and Pete and Mason, who's not a Mason.
Mason Gibbler, not a Mason, yeah. That's right.
Mason, not a Mason.
So, Larry, going into that first episode, what did you think was going to happen?
I think my my words to Pete was when we were at the academy, we were talking about doing this. My words to Pete were, nobody will probably listen to us.
Well, I remember Pete saying that a lot.
Proven true.
They were pretty sure nobody would listen, but you were going to give it a shot anyway. So anyway,
I think it was actually show 7.
Yeah.
And all the time from show 1 to show 7, Mason was keeping tabs on it by looking at the podcast hosts and seeing the number of listeners that we had. And the first 6 shows, he never really brought it up. He kept just taking our money. We figured, what the heck?
Yeah, he's going to do it. Why not?
Yeah, because Pete and I paid for that at the beginning. And it's show 7, and I think it was Rodkey. Was it Rodkey?
7, I believe, was...
No, I think I was 8.
You were 8.
So
yeah,
Rodkey, yes.
Was Rodkey
the
was
Reverend Doctor.
7.
Yeah, he kicked it over.
Yeah.
That was
There was some good talk going on there.
And the thing with Chris Rodkey, he's a prolific professor at Lancaster Theological Seminary.
Right.
He's written 14 books, scholarly books.
Yep.
And he comes out with a coloring book, which is one of his best sellers ever. And Pete and I just had a hell of a time talking about his coloring book.
Well, maybe we come back to that whole thing about...
Wait, why are we here? Who's our sponsor?
Well, we're
what
going
are we
to talk,
talking about?
but Larry's still talking.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, but it was... Then we went in and you
He's on a
came.
roll.
You came in the 8th show, and Mason Gibbler told us our numbers are going through the roof.
Right.
That we have something here. So, anyway. Yes.
So it really just goes to show, and then we'll get back to the intro. Goes to show that no matter how bad you are at something, if you stay at it long enough, you will eventually find that you have spent a lot of time doing it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Good point.
okay?
I thought you were going to say...
I mean, is that pretty... That works,
I
right?
thought you were going to say
Absolutely, that works.
You're going to be successful. You didn't go there. All right.
No.
No.
Anyway.
So happy birthday to us. And it's also, this would have been Pete's 55th birthday today.
Yes, it would. Double nickels.
So, double nickels. We miss you, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. So tonight's episode is brought to you by our sponsors.
Did you write them down?
I did.
So did I.
So tell us who they are,
No, you didn't.
Larry.
You digitized them.
Hiram and Solomon Cigars.
Okay.
George J. Grove and Son. Scott Helm Electric.
Yep.
Intermezzo by Stephanie. And Two Pillars Apparel.
Right. And another important group of people.
Our Patreons.
Yes, our patrons
Actually,
on Patreon.
a tremendously important part.
Tell us about them, Larry.
I don't want to do that. Tim, why don't you handle that part?
Hey, good job while it lasted there, buddy. All right. We do want to thank our patrons on Patreon. You too can be a Patreon supporter. for as little as $1 a month.
$1 freaking dollar, people.
$1.
$1. Just $1. Go to patreon.com/Masonic Light Podcast. You can also find us on many social media outlets. Masonic Light Podcast at gmail.com. X and Threads at Masonic Light. Facebook, Instagram, etc. And we have a website, Masonic Light MasonicLight.com. So I have no idea what's going on. But in any case, in studio tonight, there is myself. There is Jack Harley.
What?
There is Larry Merris. There is Josh Lamberton. And Ricky Martini back for a command performance.
Ricky Bellick.
So, we get these guys new headsets, and it's like a kindergartner with a new toy. Josh, we've lost all control here. So,
Princess Leia, look.
we need help. All right.
Oh, my
word. Larry, what have you been doing Masonically since we last gathered?
Well, let's see. Goose and Gridiron. I do that all the time. I was in Shippensburg last night.
Yes, you were.
I attended the Scottish Rite Club in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, why were you there?
Because no one else from the podcast could go. So I was the fourth pick.
To do what?
Josh was in Ohio. You were
At
preparing for today. Jack was Shrewsbury or something like that. So I mean,
I was at Shrewsbury.
You were at Shrewsbury. And to do what? To speak about Masonic Light Podcast.
And how did that go?
I think it went very well.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, it was good. And it was great seeing a lot of people that I knew. I think when you get to a certain point in Freemasonry, you get to know, especially as you've been around as long as I have, you get to know a lot of people. And when you go to a meeting somewhere, you see these people. And I was thinking on the way home last night, that's the beauty of being a Freemason and being in a fraternity with these guys, because no matter where you go, you feel like you know people and you feel comfortable. And that's overall the way I felt.
Good.
So
All right, awesome.
Yep. Yes.
Jack, what have you been up to Masonically?
I've been taking a picture of this whole microphone and
They're so impressed
table
with our new
arrangement.
headsets. I mean,
it is. We love it.
It's high tech. It's very high tech.
I came in previous weekend and just came through and tidied up the studio and cleaned up the junk drawer of the lodge, the basement, and just trying to make it a little more welcoming or whatever. So anyway, what have I been doing Masonically? Well, last night I spoke at Shrewsbury. I did the Stump the Speaker thing again, and
how'd that go?
it was great. It was great. The guys were really receptive. And it starts out as a Stump the Mason thing, and then at the end, in order to just sort of close it off, I went into the whole St. John thing, because we were in an entered apprentice lodge, but there were 3 fellowcrafts in the lodge.
Okay.
So that's the perfect time to talk about that whole Holy St. John thing. Mm-hmm. So they dug it. A lot of the oldsters dug it. So it was a very nice time. I had a lot of fun. And I don't know. I missed my home lodge last night, but I was in a lodge, if not my lodge.
Cool. So. Josh, how about you?
I missed our lodge meeting because of work. So I missed my Masonic birthday.
Oh, you missed yeah. You'll get candy too, don't you?
Happy birthday, Josh. Happy birthday.
HBD. HBD.
And I got together with some brothers and had a nice get together and talk. That's about it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Can I wait before we
Yes. Go ahead.
Jump to Ricky?
Yeah.
Something else that I remembered that I did was Operatives on Saturday.
Yes, you did.
And
what happened there?
Wow. The work that went into building the components of this thing to schlep in and out of the lodge room, the whole lodge setup.
What degree did you get?
I got the 4th degree in Operatives. And I just it's really cool. If there's a Larry, you okay?
I know CPR.
Operatives. So we just 2 years ago, I guess, started an operatives assemblage here in Lancaster County, and the work that's done there is really freaking cool. And I think we'll do a show. Well, I'll just leave it at that, and we'll do a show on that at some future point. But if you have an operatives assemblage near you, consider becoming a part of it, because it's a perspective on that old operative stone work that enhances what we have in Blue Lodge. It's just very cool.
Yeah. Very good. All right.
Now, sorry, Ricky.
Ricky the plebe.
Oh, you're good. I mean, seriously, I know we talked earlier a little bit about the operatives, and I have not yet to join. I'm very excited
We can fix that.
to join. I had an opportunity last year with Seth. Anthony gave me a petition, and I had a lot of
Starter of obscure bodies.
a lot of stuff going on with moving and back in the area and doing other stuff. So just bad timing, but I kind of kicked myself for not doing it last year. But looking forward to the operatives going forward with the
very cool.
amount of information, education that you can learn from it. Cool. Last week we had our chapter meeting for Perseverance number 21. We did something a little different this time. This time we distributed our minutes.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, the meeting went by.
And did the sky fall?
It did not.
No, it did not. See? Yeah.
But it went very well. The meeting, I'm not saying went quicker, but we had more time for our speaker, which was Paul Mummert. Mm-hmm. Paul gave a great program and education on ancient masonry. And it was great. And after chapter, we went downstairs afterwards, and we hung out. We socialized. We talked about Masonic stuff. We talked about personal stuff. I think we spent more time socializing than we did at this chapter meeting.
It does happen.
And
God forbid.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it went well. I think it went well. We got a lot of stuff going on with that. Unfortunately, I missed out on my Blue Lodge meeting. I missed out on my commandery meeting. I have a lot of stuff going on outside of Masonic stuff right now, which is really taking up a lot of my time. But to be honest with you, when I was asked to come back here to the Masonic Light podcast, I couldn't. I made arrangement and time for this. So
Cool.
I'm glad to be
We're
here.
glad to have you.
I appreciate it. Besides all that, I do have extra solar eclipse sunglasses for sale.
Ah, nice. There we go.
If anybody needs
There
any,
we bring it in.
I half price for the next one. If anybody's
Foreshadowing.
interested in that.
Contact us at Masonic Light.
Yep,
@gmail.com.
Yep, or 315-59 Mason. There you go. Call that number.
Wow. See how he did
You'll
that,
get
Larry?
half off.
It was almost like he was reading it. It's amazing.
I have it. It's in my phone. It's in my cell phone. I call it at least once a day.
Do it.
Oh, you're the one that called.
Speaking of, we had a listener last week that called that number, and I made the mistake of answering the call. And they were like, I wanted to leave a message for you all. And I'm like, okay, call back and I won't answer. And so they never called back.
Oh, my God.
Call back.
I'm sure there was very important information you wanted to leave.
I'm sure eventually he'll hear this.
Exactly.
I was that guy.
Oh, man, that was me. That was me.
All right. So actually, I only have 3 things on my list. On April the 1st, Eureka West Shore Lodge number 302 had our stated meeting. Prior to that, we had our oyster feed. We had about 80 people show up for the oyster feed.
Nice.
We had a little over 100 present for the lodge meeting.
Well, you had a little more than that. You had the Mechanicsburg Fire Department there.
And we had the Mechanicsburg Fire Department.
Yep.
We had the
guys
Right
eat
Worshipful.
oysters, do they?
We had the Right Worshipful Grand Master and entourage. So I'm up in my office about an hour or so before dinner time, and so the stewards are downstairs cooking and everything, and all of a sudden the fire alarm goes off, and I'm like, "What the hell?" So I go downstairs, and literally the kitchen is engulfed in
Oh,
smoke.
no.
The hood fan apparently didn't engage properly or whatever. And so one of them were up there pulling down on something, trying to get it to
my
go.
God.
And by the time, so they got it fixed. They go, all right, it's open. All right. So I'm like, all right, I'm going outside for a few minutes and get some fresh air. And all of a sudden you hear, I'm like, uh-oh.
They're coming.
Here they come. And so I get a text from Ricky going, what are you doing, burning the building down over there? And so, yeah.
Good to know that who responds, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
So that was on April 1st. On April the 6th, I was at the same operatives meeting that Jack was. And on April the 8th, which was Monday, Samuel C. Perkins Royal Arts Chapter had a meeting. Had a good meeting, had a conversation about establishment of goals for the coming year or so.
Nice.
And
In which body was that?
a chapter.
Oh, good. Just
And in between was probably working with, 67 lodges on their audits. Just a round number. Oh, my gosh. So anyway, and then there was last night. So,
there you go.
there it is.
And I think it's a fitting end to that chapter, right? That you got all those lodge audits
Yeah.
doing what to you?
Yeah.
And then
I got
today.
a colonoscopy. Yeah. I'm not sure which was
I
more
wasn't
painful.
going to say what it was, but
I'm not
yeah.
sure which was more painful, the prep for the colonoscopy or working with 67 lodges on their
just look
audits.
at it this way: at least the procedure started and ended.
True.
The
Good
lodge
point.
audits,
That's right.
the calls never end.
That's right. Yeah, we're on the way down here.
Just
and I get a
remember, Tim,
call.
it all comes out in the end.
That's right. It does all come out in the end. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about something. I'm not sure what, but we'll find out in a minute.
Stuff.
Why choose George J. Grove & Sons for your next home improvement project? At George J. Grove & Sons, we've built our reputation on quality and trust for more than 50 years. For planning to materials to installation, George J. Grove promises a home improvement experience second to none. Whether your goal is reducing energy costs, decreasing maintenance, updating curb appeal, or simply increasing the value of your home, the George J. Grove team will recommend and provide solutions that stand the test of time. Call 717-393-0859 for an estimate or visit us at georgejgrove.com.
And we're back.
Yes,
and
we are.
don't know where we are, and we don't really know where we're going tonight. We had a guest scheduled tonight, but for complicated reasons, it didn't work out. So tonight, it's just the five of us sitting around the table talking about Masonic stuff. So sometimes as these things go, we just the first thing we started talking about was operatives. And I'm okay going a little bit further with operatives because I think it's something that I think is going to be certainly spread around the country more than it has because it's just so freaking awesome. And
Do we know how widespread it is across the country?
Oh man, I want to say there's like 20 some assemblages in the U.S. or something like that. It's either 20 or 50 is what sticks.
So,
in my
what
mind.
local appendant bodies would people relate to as operatives around here in PA?
Well, I mean, there really isn't one. Operatives is its own thing.
Right.
It's available to any master mason, I believe.
You have to
Right.
be in chapter. It's one of those. I think you have to be in chapter to be a member.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure.
I'm pretty sure.
In any case, okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
More restricted you can make it, the better. But it's. I don't think if it compares to anything, it would be Blue Lodge, because it is the Stonemakers Guild. It was compiled by a fellow back in the 1870s or something like that, who had been an operative stonemason in the Stonemasons Guild in England. And then when they went to the new labor union system, the guilds collapsed and there was just nothing left of the guilds. So all of the history for the previous 600 years just ended when they made that conversion. And this guy looked back on it as a Freemason. He looked back on what he'd learned as an operative Mason, and he said, I can't let this ceremony just go away. So he collected a lot of the ritual work, and it's phenomenal. I mean, it's so different, and it's so focused on the builder's trade, right? It's like there's no the symbols are allegories. I don't know how to say this, but it's not like you look at a symbol and you think about a thing and then you think about an allegory. This is these people were laying rocks, and these are the things they were thinking about when they were laying rocks.
As I've done programs in the past where like operatives is what the physical use of whatever they were doing.
Right.
Where speculative is more like, as in Blue Lodges, we use these tools for, more.
Right. The philosophical
for
side.
A philosophical reason
right.
for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the idea of an operatives assemblage, if look, whoever's listening to this, look around for it if it's happening near you and you're interested in, where did this come from? It's fascinating to see. It's unfortunate we can't talk about the rituals, but I'm in a couple of invitational things or whatever, and a couple of them are like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You're just you're just surrounded by terrific people. But in the operatives, it's you're in the quarry. You're on the job site, and you have to pace this thing off in order to make sure that it's this, and it's just a very cool vibe.
Yeah, it seems very intriguing. It leaves me at an awe where I'm excited to want to join.
Yeah.
And be a part of it. And
it's very cool. And our particular assemblage meets on what are we?
Fifth Saturday.
Every other fifth Saturday fifth Saturday.
Unless
it isn't.
Unless it isn't.
When the fifth Saturday falls on Memorial Day, it's not the fifth Saturday.
Or the cookout of somebody that can't miss.
We're trying to minimize that.
So the official name of the organization is the Worshipful Society of Freemasons, Rough Masons, Wallers, Slaters, Paviours,
Plasterers.
Except it's not spelled that way.
Plasterers.
Yeah. And bricklayers.
There you go.
It was operative or guild masons were organized in England, and as they began to die off in around 926, some of these other organizations like this began to form, and it was not until like the 1800s, as you said, that they started to come over here. The qualifications are membership is restricted to regular Freemasons who are Master Masons, Mark Master Masons, and Royal Arch Masons in good standing.
Okay, so good call. Yeah.
And there are 7 degrees.
The sixth is an honorary, and the seventh is like you have to be like the Grand High.
Donate $3 million to your local.
I think it refers more to the office that you've held.
Yeah,
but it's
in Pennsylvania. I think we have 2, one in Allentown and the one.
I think there's a third.
Is there a third one? Maybe out in Pittsburgh.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's a third.
Okay.
But anyway,
where's Seth when you need him?
I don't know, but we reach. What is it, Larry? Now we it's like 400 trillion people on 3 planets.
6 planets.
So somebody at their home lodge somewhere out of state is going to listen to this and think, an operative thing. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, if you have any information about operative masonry to help us educate ourselves, call 315-59-MASON. And
2 of us are members. And
see if we hear from Seth.
Tim will answer that phone call.
Yeah.
Or you can leave a message and he'll call back later.
Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, so that's anybody. You want to throw anything in? What's your take on Operatives?
No, I mean the thing I really like about it is the deliberate nature in which you progress.
Oh yeah, it's very It's like one a year.
As much as we try to fly people through Blue Lodge degrees anymore,
right?
This is one where you were indentured. I don't think I'm violating anything by saying that. For a period of time, and you have to come to so many meetings, you have to do a bunch of stuff, and at some point, then you progress, and then you do a bunch of other stuff and attend another bunch of meetings. So it's not just dictated by the calendar.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
What is up with Larry?
I have no idea.
Larry, did the gummies kick in finally?
He's been on a roll most of the day.
I'll talk on break.
Oh my word. Josh, record through break.
Yeah. But anyway, no, I really like that part of it. The other thing I like about it is it brings people in from a wide circle around.
Geographically, yeah.
So in our
there's guys in there I wouldn't know.
There's guys in Harrisburg. There's guys in Lancaster. There's guys from York. There's guys from other parts of the state that you wouldn't necessarily see in other appendant bodies even.
Right.
And it's a small group. It's not a large group at all. Really enjoy it.
But I don't know. He's done. Larry's cracking himself up.
One of the things you'll learn, Ricky, is at some point you just got
to draw the curtain.
Draw the curtain. That's right. Yeah.
It's like a window at Macy's. You cannot do anything but look.
It's the train wreck. You can't not look at it.
As far back as the mid-1800s, records exist describing the pre-meeting tradition of brethren smoking cigars during and after gatherings. To this day, the practice of smoking cigars remains very much alive in many lodges. This custom is considered a time for brethren to relax, exchange ideas, and enjoy the simplicity and fellowship that is the very essence of our brotherhood. This is what Hiram Solomon Cigars is all about. Our starting principles are to bring Masonic brethren together in the harmony of a good cigar. Pull up a chair, sit back, light up any of our premium cigars, and enjoy the history. Hiram Solomon Cigars can be found at fine cigar retailers. For a complete list, visit hiramandsolomonscigars.com or check them out on social media to find out when they'll be at a live event near you. Hiram Solomon Cigars is pleased to be the official cigar of the Masonic Light Podcast.
And we're back. Larry has returned from whence he came.
Being divested.
He's being reinvested with that which he was divested earlier.
Good job, Larry.
And good job. So, one of the things... I've been able to visit many lodges across the state, as I know many of you all have too. And it occurred to me that one of the things we might want to talk about is being more intentional, particularly if you're not used to having visitors come, for preparing for when that visitor walks in.
You mean people visit Blue Lodges?
Yeah, imagine that.
Yes.
What?
So...
Smart people do.
Yeah. So, Ricky, what in your lodge? What happens when somebody visits?
Well, when we have visitors at our lodge, at our Blue Lodge, usually our senior and junior warden will be the ones that greet everyone, every member, every visitor. If they're visiting from another lodge, they'll get their visitor pass that they fill out their slip, and they'll review it. If they need to be examined because someone doesn't know them, then, we'll put them in the examining room and go through that ritual. But for the most part, it's to make them feel part of the lodge. I mean, they're part of the family. If they're visiting, it's an experience. Just like as if you were to go to a concert and see a band play or go to Disneyland, you're paying money to go for the entertainment for the purposes of being with people. Blue Lodge, same way.
Exactly. One of the things that I'm not sure how it started. It just kind of organically began, but it's similar to what you described. Before the master calls the officers to order, other than myself setting up at the secretary's desk, collecting checks and, answering questions, and same thing with the treasurer and the master getting his stuff together, everybody else in the lodge that's in a chair is moving about the lodge, greeting people. When you come in, if you shake hands with fewer than 8 people, then we've kind of failed.
Now, when I was
properly greet you.
When I was a worshipful master, which was not that long ago, sometimes I would run close to starting time because I would go around the lodge and I would greet everyone and talk to everyone. And sometimes conversations would go a little longer than necessary, but you know what? That's what I'm there for. Well, I'm there to talk to them and communicate with them. And the last time I went to a stadium meeting, which is a little bit ago because I've been busy here, but it was earlier in the year. And I remember the junior warden being asked, is everyone here a Master Mason? And he looks around the room and he tells the worshipful master that everyone is. Afterwards, I told him, I said, you don't need to look around the room because you should greet everyone and know before the lodge starts that everyone there is a Master Mason or fellow craft, whatever degree you're opening the lodge in, that you are 100% sure that everyone there is a Master Mason.
That was one of the first things that I experienced because, culturally, I'm going to admit, we're in the middle of Pennsylvania Dutch country, right? And while the Pennsylvania Dutch in general would give you the shirt off their back, they just won't say hello, right? They just don't. There's something culturally here, and maybe it's me, maybe I have like a force field or something, but
overall, we don't like people. It's a
real. It's not even that. It's and I don't even want to say it's the German heritage because it's just not. It's just like everybody who's here has been here for 6 generations. And there's no need for anyone new, and there's no, I know what I know, and that's what I know, and that's fine. I give you that. But when you walk into a lodge room, if the people in the lodge room don't know you, you should be made the most important person at the meeting.
Right.
Agreed.
That's how you that's how you just extend brotherly love. But. To look at the guy and say, I don't know that guy, and talk to
who's that person?
Who's over there? Who's that? That's terrible. That's absolutely the opposite of what masonry should be. So, the lodges that welcome people like that, I commend you. It's so easy. You just do it. Just go say hi.
I know when I visit lodges, which I like to do a lot because I like to see how they do things, either whether it's in Pennsylvania or other states. I'll wear their regular lodge apron. I don't like. Oh no!
I earned my past master apron. I'm wearing my apron. Damn it!
I think the only time I wear my past master's apron is if I'm conferring a degree and I don't want to switch aprons. So then I'll put it on just for my convenience.
Sacrilege.
Oh. If you are a regional instructor, please rewind and delete this portion of the project. Thank you.
But besides that, I'm there to see what they do. It has nothing to do with me. I'm there for their experience of what they do. That's why I go to there. But in retrospect, when a visitor comes to your lodge from a different state, different region, or district, you need to make them your top priority.
Agree.
Because that's an experience. You want them to come back. They're going to talk to other members of their lodge saying, hey, I was in the Harrisburg-Snyder Lodge number 629. Oh, my God, the masters, the officers there were great. They came over to me. They were talking to me. We went downstairs afterwards and socialized and hung out. Those are memories, and that's stuff they don't forget.
That's one of the reasons you travel is to experience.
But
that.
in hindsight, people will also remember more, especially the bad visits.
Yeah.
Which we try not to tend that way, but unfortunately, there's instances or stories that I've heard in the past from brethren that they go and visit a lodge and nobody talks to them.
Yeah. Well, and usually that occurs like after the meeting when somebody goes, "Are you new?" "No, I'm visiting from such and such." "Oh, okay. Well, glad you could come tonight." But I mean, like you said, that should occur when you walk in the door. Really.
Yep.
How are the Phillies doing?
I'm not.
He's playing Candy Crush.
I was looking up a historical fact. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So do you think that not only affects Blue Lodge but other appendant bodies?
It pertains
Oh, I do.
to
I mean, I
this.
think it's important for any organization. We're here to talk about Freemasonry, but it doesn't matter what organization it is. If you have guests, you should make them feel welcome.
I mean, how hard is that?
Yeah.
Why does that need to be taught?
Right.
It should be the core of who we are. You know, you're a brother from somewhere else. Let's get to know you. But it is uncomfortable sometimes. I mean, guys, not everybody's brought up that way, and it's cultural to a large degree. But I remember walking through the lodge the first time I came through the door after I had the one-day class thing somewhere else. I walked into the lodge and I just found some old guy on the side, and I went over and I stuck out my hand and I said, "Hi, my name's Jack." And he grabbed me by the hand and he said, "What is this?" And I said, "A grip?" He said, "All right then." That was as far as it got. It was
Good.
like done. Yeah,
Okay.
At that point, you know.
Great icebreaker.
Yeah, right. But it's not that hard to make people feel welcome. And like dinners before the meetings, if there's a table that's all tuxedos facing in, you're missing the point. You know, open that up and
Spread out a little bit.
I don't want to say like everybody spread out and one tuxedo at every table, and no, that's whatever. But for crying out loud, don't sit with your back to everybody. You know, I mean that's turn around, be inviting.
What'd you find out, Larry? What did you find out?
Caesar Rodney
Who? Go on.
was a delegate. Was a delegate.
Sit down, John.
Yes.
Yes. Delaware.
Yeah.
A brother. Yeah.
New York abstains courteously.
Well, we were talking about visiting other lodges. Carol and I owned a.
Rodney, what the?
We owned a place in Lewis, Delaware, and there was a beautiful old lodge in downtown Lewis.
Yes, there is.
And Caesar Rodney used to visit there. His family lived in that area.
Oh, really?
I think he was from the Dover area or something like that, but his family, and they went to that lodge. And I always wanted to go visit that lodge.
I have never been in it. I've walked past it 100 times.
Yeah, exactly. And we were always down there on weekends, and consequently, they, never made it to a meeting. But I understand.
So Lewis Delaware Lodge, put out a sign someday and say, "Open house, come on in."
Yes,
and we'll be there.
Yes.
We'll do a show from there.
Yeah, we would.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's hear it. All right, Lewis Delaware, reach out.
Anyway.
So speaking of guests, and back to the operatives conversation a moment ago.
Yeah.
We got to that point where you were moving on to the next degree, and some of us weren't able to stay in the room.
See ya.
And so we took advantage of it to extend Masonic fellowship in front of the Lancaster Masonic Center by enjoying a nice Hiram Solomon cigar.
The Brotherhood of the Leaf.
That's right. And there was a gentleman and a lady that were standing there, obviously getting their picture taken. And so we walked up and offered to take their picture. And this other guy comes up and he goes, "He's a Mason."
Oh, that's great. They were standing by the big sign.
They were standing by the big sign. And he goes, "He's from Brazil." So the language barrier was nothing we were going to overcome
Portuguese.
standing there. Yeah. But so we took his picture, and then he wanted a picture with us standing with him. And so we talked a little bit, and then about that time.
Give him one of your Masonic Light Podcast trading cards.
I did.
We should do those.
Oh, we should.
Did you ever hear Tom Jackson talk about what they pay to be a Mason in Brazil?
Yeah.
It's astounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big bucks.
Yep, exactly.
And a huge investment in time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think to summarize, if you don't have some intentionality around your visiting of guests, please.
That's a good term for it. Intentionality. I mean, when you walk through the door, you should, everybody should have the same mindset. If there's a new face here, I want to know who it is.
Yep.
And I want to make him feel comfortable. And that's a great attitude to address anybody that's new coming into your lodge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, whether it's a guest or even
just
a new brethren.
Yeah, or somebody that's been there a couple of times and keeps coming back occasionally.
Yeah, or a new Mason. Yeah, newly raised. Yeah. So, Larry, what the heck?
I learned a new word, intentionality. I didn't think it was a word, and I looked it up. It is.
Oh, were you going to call him out?
No, I was.
Oh, you were, weren't you?
He was going to.
You were going to call out Tim. Oh, man. Skunks.
How can you call out the...
Just in case I get that word in Scrabble, I wanted to make sure it was legitimate.
The Tim Dedman? No way.
Mic drop. Oh, my word.
All right.
We're going to be throwing here in a minute.
Did I ever tell you the incident I had with Tim at Aaron Council?
No, this was funny.
Yeah, this was fun. So we both got initiated in the Aaron Council at the same time, same day. And we went through our degrees, which is outstanding.
There were like 10 of us or something.
But anybody that's never gone through an Aaron Council, the degrees are spectacular. The information and the ritual is fantastic. And afterwards, they told us to go in a row and stand up and throw us the sign and, basically talk about ourselves or thank everyone or wherever you wanted to say. So it was my turn to stand up, and I start talking, and they're like, the sign. You got to throw the sign. So I was like, oh, God, can I mess this up? I'm like, so I throw the sign. I go, my name is Tim Dedman. Because Tim's standing to the left of me. He's next. And, of course, most people knew him in there, so they start laughing. And I say, I just want to thank everyone for everything. And I sat down, and, of course, Tim stood up. And he goes, well, I'm the Tim Dedman.
That story, the title of the Tim Dedman actually precedes that event by about a year and a half. To some brethren up in the northern part of Pennsylvania who are listeners. And this father says, I got to take a picture with you. My son and I listen to your show all the time. And I got to send it to him. And so the guys that were with me were giving me a hard time. 2 weeks later, we're in another location, and at a break, a guy comes up and he goes, hey, you're the Tim Dedman that's on the Masonic Light podcast.
The Tim Dedman.
Yeah. So it lives in infamy.
You're going to get a license plate that says the.
That's it. Just put the. That's it.
The T.
All right. We're going to take another break, and we'll come back and figure out where we are.
Looking for a way to show your Masonic pride and affiliation, but also want to have a relaxed look? Two Pillars Apparel is a Masonic-owned company that incorporates sports apparel with Freemasonry. Check out their current lines from Blue Lodge, as well as the appendant bodies York and Scottish Rite. Two Pillars Apparel is always adding new designs and items. Check in today to get a baseball or hockey jersey, or one of their new Scottish Rite lapel pins or hoodies. Two Pillars Apparel works for lodge social functions or going to the game. Visit them at twopillarapparel.com. That's TWO, pillarsapparel.com.
And we're back.
What?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Strong.
My neck hurts.
One of the things that I wanted to talk about, and we briefly discussed it when we opened the show, but we begin really this day or two this week recording our first show in downtown Lancaster at the studio. So we begin our 8th year, which for me it's hard to grasp.
We just completed our 8th year.
No, we didn't.
Yeah.
What?
Yep, 8 years completed.
16,
Arithmetic,
17,
geometry,
18,
music,
19,
and astronomy.
21, 22.
This is the arithmetic.
No, wait a minute. We completed.
Larry only knows the 6 liberal arts.
This is blowing my mind. I'm still, and I told everybody last night we're beginning our 8th year. Oh my gosh. Well, we're doing our 9th?
We're
Seriously?
beginning our 9th year.
Next show will begin our 9th year.
Good Lord. Next show.
So that would make this the last episode of our 8th year.
8th year.
Did you hear how everybody got it at the same time? Yeah, there you go.
Now this is unexpected because I apparently in another dimension or another parallel or whatever the heck. But anyway,
how's our ratings?
Wanted to talk about the fact that because we're celebrating being around as long as we have been, talking about some of the older shows, and you guys are going to have to help me here because being an older gentleman, my mind doesn't function the way it used to when I was like 30 and 40.
Did it ever, though?
Lots of things don't function that well anymore, but beside the point. Seriously.
Larry, I can't help you with that. I was like 5 years old when this show started.
But anyway, we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the shows we did.
Yeah. So actually, I pulled up our episode guide.
Oh, no.
Episode 8 was Brother Jack Harley.
Ta-da.
Yep.
And the Reverend Dr. Chris Rodke was number 9.
He was 9.
Yes.
Oh, so it was Jack that jacked us up.
Or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
Something
Jack
like
jacked us
No
up.
pun intended on that.
Something like that.
We got the stats after Chris Rodke was on the show, though.
Yes.
It was so. But
It
you
was
were
Chris.
you came back. You were there for Chris when we interviewed him?
No, I don't think I was there for Chris's interview. But it was a couple episodes later that I came back.
Yeah, you came back kind of, sort of for
Like the
good, like
12th,
14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah.
We're popping in and out.
I came back a couple times, and then it just stuck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was.
No reason to be sorry. It's glad to have you here.
So, there were some significant episodes, and, I think I've shared on previous episodes, I've been going back trying to listen to the archives, and there was a...
Turn into a pillar of salt.
Right, exactly. Turn your eyes from the horrid sight.
Yeah, there you go.
The episode where you had a community counselor from Lancaster.
Oh yeah.
He ran like a drug rehab facility.
Can't remember.
That was powerful.
Oh yeah. Come on. Oh, this is old guy memory here now. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. Anyway, I think that was hugely successful. I think the first episode that we did with our friend from Canada, not Nathan Lane, the other one.
Nicholas
Lane. There we go. Where he basically interviewed the podcast team.
Yes.
If you have never heard that one, you should go back because he forced Pete and Larry, in particular, to talk about your vision for the show.
Yeah.
And talked about where you wanted to see the show go. And as I went back and listened to that, it made me realize that really did kind of chart the course for kind of the next iteration of the show, that really it continued to build on itself.
Yeah. And I was thinking on my way over to Shippensburg last night, I wish I would have listened to that because I could have gotten some more ideas about, you're right. Like you said, the vision or the mission statement or whatever you want to call it. And again, that was definitely a very pivotal show. It was what I know when I listened to it. I think Pete never listened to any of these shows. He didn't care.
He did not.
Yeah,
he never heard an episode.
That was definitely really. Also, too, remember and again, I don't have the list in front of me, but the gentleman that came down from Scranton, who was the magazine publisher, you know who I mean.
I got nothing.
Golly.
From Scranton.
he published the the one thing that goes to the
Harvard
or the Harvard Library.
Yeah, Harvard Library.
What magazine was that? He did an article on us. Brian.
Oh yes.
I have his card.
Wow.
He was fantastic. Yeah. He was great.
Yes.
And the residual publicity we got after him being here.
There's absolutely been some great guests. We have no idea why they want to talk to us, but they do.
Yeah.
I think for me, the most fun was Lodge 49. Those guys were.
I remember that. Pete and I recorded that in my sunroom in my house in Mountville.
That was very cool.
So Ricky's looking like he doesn't have a clue. Lodge 49 was an AMC program?
Yeah, it was a TV series, and it was this imaginary lodge, which is kind of a mashup of masonry and elks and mooses and all of whatever. We had the producers on the show, or the two writers of the show. And it was just interesting to hear their perspective on that show and how it related to Freemasonry that they knew about in their lives and parents and stuff. Lodge 49, it's still available if you want to watch it.
The producer
what's his name? Goldie Hawn's daughter, Goldie Hawn's son, right? Isn't it?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
So I guess my take of it, I mean, I haven't been around the Masonic Light podcast for the 8 years. I've been out.
Get out.
For a couple months. Even though I've been listening to you for quite a few years. And I guess the question that comes concerning is, not concerning I guess, but the question that comes up is when you started the Masonic Light podcast, did it really question or endanger Masonry in general to the public going, what information are they going to give out to the public?
Well, I feel safe in saying that there were many Masonic jurisdictions that feared that. I think there was a lot of...
Including Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah.
Let's not pretend that didn't...
That's what I mean.
Can't blame them.
There was some pucker factor going on there about what are these lunatics going to do?
And really, it wasn't until Right Worshipful Grand Master S. Eugene Harrett came in here of his own free will and accord, apart from...
Was it really, though?
It really was. I mean, it was, other than Larry standing up in front of a lodge of research and inviting him, but the fact I think it really did kind of peel back the glass a little bit for Grand Lodge, and it opened the doors. Let's just put it that way. It opened the doors for us to have others on as guests that otherwise maybe would have thought twice or thought again about it and maybe hadn't accepted our invites before then.
Well, they hadn't really rejected them. They just ignored them completely.
Right.
Well, it's just very intriguing. And to be honest with you, when you listen to past Grand Masters or anyone from the Grand Lodge staff be on the show and be asked questions, you learn a lot about the person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not about the position or the office they hold, but you learn about the person, and it makes them so more personable about where they're from and what they're doing. And they're they're just like you and me.
What you don't understand about what you've just said is that's exactly what those two, the original two, Larry and Pete, that's what they wanted. They wanted to just bring on regular guys to talk about Masonry and just be regular dudes. And to hear you say that that's still working.
It is.
That's great.
It's a phenomenal that they created, and it's something that's, well, if you keep me on this show, maybe it won't last, but for others that are a lot smarter than me, it's very intuitive about the members of lodges and different components of Masonry in Pennsylvania that we interview on a bi-monthly program here, and learn about their personable stuff and how it directs them to be very dedicated in their Masonic career, how it affects them in their whole life, how we learn more about them, and their goals and future endeavors in Masonry.
Well, and that's true. One of the things too that I always like hearing, and Tim always gives us these kind of positive messages.
These are true.
And I run into it as well. New Masons, new brothers that have gone through or are in the first or second or third degree. They're younger guys. They come up to me, they come up to Tim, and they say, "Thanks for doing what you do, because I learned more from you than I am learning in Lodge." And it made, well, maybe that's not a way to phrase it, but of course they were learning Lodge. But I think what we conveyed to them was more fun and learning. And they loved the show. And I think I ran into some fellow that got his first degree at our lodge in Millersville, and I listened to your show. He said, "Because I listened to your show, it's the reason I'm going through."
I've heard that more than once.
Yeah,
actually.
And to me, that's always amazing to hear that we've had that kind of an impact on people. So
yeah, exactly.
No. Or when you go to a meeting somewhere like the Academy, and people walk up to you and say, "You're Larry Merris." I recognize your voice.
Larry
Merris. Okay. Yeah, that's fun too. But anyway, it never fails to amaze me. Last night, I asked, there were about 35, I think, brothers there at the Scottish Rite meeting last night. I asked how many people listened to our show. Almost half of them did.
And what was the average age in that room?
The average age in that room, I'd have to say, was probably 75.
Hiya!
Yeah.
No, I'm serious, and I knew that, but that's what I'm saying.
That's an interesting statistic.
We think that this is only for the new young guys.
No.
Yeah.
That audience is growing leaps and bounds.
Oh, here's another data point.
They're learning how to find a podcast.
Yes,
another data point. Of all those people who listen, most of them are officers in one form of body or another.
Yeah, that tends to be the people who have it in their lives.
Yeah,
the people that are thinking it all.
And our Right Worshipful Junior Grand, Right Worshipful.
That's right.
Junior Grand Warden listens to the show as well.
Yes. He does. Actually, most of the line does.
Yeah, most of the line does.
They don't tell each other that they do, but they do. We know they do. We know you do.
And of course, there were some people that wanted to know, how do I listen to the podcast? Yep. And I gave them that information. But it was amazing to see that many people put their hand up and say, we listen.
It's wonderful.
It is. That's kind of inroads are made. And that's very satisfying for me.
The thing about this show, and when I've been asked to describe the show, and it really is, for me, it is getting together with some of my best friends and talking about something or talking to someone else. And sometimes we never know where the conversation is going to go. It's like tonight. We had a guest that couldn't come at the last minute, and we're just going to have a show with us. We didn't walk in here with an agenda. You could probably tell.
The fact that the missing guest tonight is an esotericist would imply that there is some deeper meaning for the reason why he's not here today.
That's right.
So that we can have this conversation right now. I'm sorry. I can't
so would this be a good question to ask you guys, since you've been here a while?
Well, go ahead and we'll tell you.
if I was to go and ask each one of you, like, who was the most shocking or intriguing guest that you interviewed?
We'll do that.
Jack.
Well,
the list could be endless. But
No. I have one, and you guys all know who it is. It's Earl Fontenelle, who is the host of the Masonic or of the Schwepp, the Secret History of Western Esotericism podcast. And I would say that more than anyone, Earl Fontenelle affected my understanding of like philosophy.
Episode 87.
Yeah.
What do you talk about?
He it's not as much what he talked about because I didn't really the arc of the conversation wasn't really well done. But in any case, his podcast is really cool, and we talked about, one of the phrase that I remember from that podcast is when he said, "Wow, we in the universities talk about philosophy. You guys in Freemasonry are putting it into practice." And I thought, okay,
sure,
I'll take that.
Yeah,
that's
give me a medal and I'll keep going.
That's exactly correct. That's we're the feet on the street, and so that was a good memory from that episode. So that for me is the one.
Nice, Larry.
I would say two. One was the author John Dickey.
Oh yeah,
who was in England. He was phenomenal.
Really
he was really great. And it's John Dickey, Dickie. You can just Google it online. You can also buy his book, which is really great, by the way. But I think the one that had one of the most impacts on me was Ed Stum.
Yep.
Yeah.
What a show that was. And statistically, when you look at the numbers that he had, it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And he actually, now I can't say this in the long run, but in the short run, he beat Gene Harrod.
For initially, those numbers, he for the long time, he was the most listened to episode.
That's right.
Tim, do you know what episode that was so people could listen to it? That's what I love about our podcast is that you can go back and listen to other episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
from 1 to 174 as of tonight.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Right.
I'll get that to you in a minute.
It's a cool legacy for Pete too.
It really is.
I like that.
Yeah.
And rumor has it he likes cigars too.
Oh,
what?
yeah.
He likes cigars.
He's just the grand smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Grand smoke.
Yeah, grand
He's just
smoke.
the grand smoke.
Yeah.
I'd have to say the one I mentioned earlier, Brother T.J. Griffin.
TJ, yes, thank you.
I saw his name a minute
He
ago.
does the Vision program with Jose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was important, probably from one that I wasn't a host on, and then I would agree with Larry. Ed Stum was one of the early.
Yeah, that was
ones.
very impactful.
That was
episode.
impactful because he told his story, and
wow.
if you've not heard his story, please, as soon as I scroll through here. And I'll give you that episode number. Go back and listen to it because you talk about someone who's lived Freemasonry before
his whole entire
life. It's amazing. It really is. So that would be it. Josh, how about you?
Did you just say Ed Stum's episode?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
two of us did.
72.
72. There it is. Okay.
Episode 72.
I liked the Earl Fontenelle from Schwepp as well. That was a cool one for me. Jamie Paul Lamb was cool.
Yeah.
Michael Paul was cool.
Yes.
Yeah. And let's see, Ronald Bates.
Yes.
The Lost Purple Bloodline.
Yes. That was one of Larry's famous ones.
But that was a whole.
What was what was favorite about that?
It was just very
It was
well,
memorable.
very well researched. So it was good to have such a great depth of research on the episode.
Yeah.
But my favorite is probably the second visit by Matt Rankowski.
where we all got COVID.
Oh yeah, the COVID visit.
The COVID 2
Hey, Matt, if you're listening to this, we still thank you every day for that
You
one.
owe me big.
Masonic Gump.
So, I would be remiss. I really think.
And we gave him an award that night, too. Remember that?
I really think the most significant episode we ever did was the Digital Order of the Knights Quarantine.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. I think it transformed not only this show, but our listeners all over the world. And so, Jack, thank you for that, for your role in that. Thanks to Pete, obviously, for that. Seth, others that had contributed to that thing. It came at a time that this podcast,
March of 2020,
it was needed.
Yeah,
it was needed,
yeah.
and people look at that, and we still get listeners on that. It's the numbers still tick along. Yep. It came at a time where we didn't really know what was going to happen with COVID, and we pulled a bunch of folks together, and Larry, you were supposed to be the narrator of that, weren't you?
I was in the hospital having my insides removed.
Exactly. Yeah. See, he's always trying to get out of an episode.
Excuses, Larry.
But it's certainly been a fun ride, and I feel like, Josh, I don't know if you feel this way or not. I always feel like, for me, it feels like I've been part of like half the episodes or whatever, maybe. You and I came around on episode 69 or something like that, 68.
Something like that.
We've been here for over 100 episodes. We'd had our 100th celebration a while back, but
67.
67, yeah.
I think what makes the show really different, and hopefully our listeners will think outstanding, is the fact that
and modest
of all the 8 years that we're finishing tonight, we do have some memorable shows. We've had memorable guests. We're kind of different in that respect. We're different in the way we present things. But one of the things I've learned a long time ago, a podcast, in order for it to have a good following, needs to be entertaining. There are podcasts out there that, and I'm not naming them, and I'm talking about every spectrum of podcasts that lecture people, that go into great detail, that study. They're brilliant podcasts, but they're also boring. And I'm talking about the universal podcasts. There's a lot of them out there, and a lot of them are not interesting.
Go ahead.
Larry, I kind of agree with you on, like you mentioned about all the guests. And we talk about the memorable times and most intriguing guest or shocking guest. And it kind of reflects back to when we talked about guests being at Blue Lodge or any Masonic body. For them to be here, our attention to them is 100%. They're the guests. We want to know more about them. What makes them tick? What makes them Masonically dedicated? And I think by the listeners hearing that stuff really makes things very valuable about what goes on in Pennsylvania. And it couldn't be done without the people in this room.
Well, I like to think, we do, since we are in Pennsylvania, know what goes on in Pennsylvania, but I think we have a tremendously broad audience in other countries and throughout the United States that can identify what we're doing with their lodges and their grand lodges and so forth. So our reach is rather large. And we do talk a lot about our home because we have to. This is where we live. And we can bring that information out. But yet we still have a good following that can identify with us. Mm-hmm. And the fact that I think the way we do the show makes it happen.
It's very organic.
Yeah, very
it really
organic.
is. We don't come in here with a big laundry list of questions. Occasionally we will.
We didn't even come in here with an episode.
I don't even have one question on my list.
I mean,
when we started tonight, we had no idea where this was going to go.
And we still don't.
And we still don't. But that's the beauty of this is it really is, and I go back to what I said a minute ago. It's five friends getting together, having a conversation, becoming closer friends and brothers within the craft, and I think it's a niche within the podcast world. If you want a research-based show, a cerebral type show, they're out there and they're very good if that's what you're looking for.
Exactly.
If you want, if you want the five guys around the table cutting up and carrying on and trying to mix some fun with some learning, that's us.
Yep.
And there's all over the world. I mean, I'm also pleased that there are others out there who are attempting to create podcasts to fill their what they see as needs in their communities as well.
Just so you know, Jack has made more noise tonight than I have in Jack 8 years of doing the podcast.
He is excited about his new earphones. Look at that.
I just want to hear a new sound.
This thing's awesome. I love this new high-tech stuff.
Well, I'm sorry, everybody.
Right. No more toys.
Let me kind of sum it up and just say that we begin our 9th. I won't be here.
That's right.
Actually, but we'll begin our 9th year
without
in
Larry.
2 weeks, and we're going to continue doing what we're doing. We're going to entertain. We're going to educate. The education part, though, that's more organic, and it's not intentional.
Sorry.
It happens.
Sorry.
And we're going to continue that. We're going to have good guests. I mean, I'm looking over there. We're booked through almost the beginning of fall, right?
Yeah, September is our next open slot.
I've got some people for September I'm waiting to hear from. So,
yeah. I mean, and we've got a number of events this summer. We tend to we don't turn out the lights in the summer, but our episodes are not as scheduled as they normally are because we try to get around to various events in the area. We'll be at a golf outing.
And we do a lot of live streaming.
We'll be some live streaming. We'll be at the Reading Cigar Place, I believe. I think that there's going to be at least a couple of us up there. Throughout the summer, there's going to be events going on that we'll be creating content. But then this fall, we're already starting to get people booked for the fall. So it's Josh, you were going to say something a minute ago. Did we miss the moment?
Pass.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to take one more quick break. I think Walter is coming in as we speak. And so when we come back, we'll hear from Walter, and then we will wrap up tonight's episode.
In Masonic news today, due to the recent solar eclipse, lodges around the country have begun to remove one of the 3 lesser lights. Said Grandmaster Hoositz of the Grand Lodge of Central Arkansas, well, we're changing the ritual to say, as the sun opens the day and the moon just gets in the damn way. That's the Masonic news. So mote it was. Crickets. Chirp. No, can't all be home runs. Sorry.
Well,
go back to the last episode.
What happens in Arkansas stays in Arkansas.
Right, exactly. So Jack, you had some comments on our Face Slam page thingy.
Flipbook.
Yeah, hoping you were praying for cloudy days.
Oh, I wanted a monsoon. Yeah, I just wanted the whole thing to be a total wipeout because, and it cracks me up. And I'm sorry if this offends you or if you are the subject of this next comment, but there were people that booked hotel rooms in Texas and Oklahoma 3 years ago, looking forward to this solar eclipse.
Yeah,
think that through. All right, a 100% weather dependent event. And you booked a hotel 3 years ago in the highest probability of clear skies in the country historically, right? Rained like a mother hugger for the whole day. I just think you just man plans, God laughs, right? I mean, that's
exactly.
That's
Josh,
the rule
I think we should cancel our flight reservations to Spain
for 2027.
for 2027.
Yeah, you convinced me, Joe.
The rain in Spain flows me.
Very,
sorry.
very emotional.
That's
very
just
emotional.
like, what? Are you kidding?
He's such a party
No,
pooper.
I have a friend, actually a brother in Little Rock area, in Arkansas, and it went right over his house, basically. And the state cops for months were holding town meetings about, people are going to be coming from all over the place, and they're going to be camping out under the overpasses and all that. And there was all this buildup to it. And I got a text message from him today. He says, yeah, just ended. No big deal.
I'm going to say something that's not going to be received right, but
I don't even know.
It's Arkansas.
Oh, no.
It's a great state.
No,
Do we have listeners from there?
I'm sure we probably
Sure.
It was-
I'm sure we used to have listeners.
Exactly.
Don't get me wrong. For everybody who really appreciates, eclipses, it's all good. I get it. It was cool. I got the glasses. I saw it.
Yeah, I got a picture.
But man, we're as a species, we just get so wrapped up on stuff that, like.
But you know what? It feeds
Really?
into our conspiracy theory.
I don't know. It's all over the place.
Do you
It's
think the
just such a
solar
mess.
eclipse was a Masonic event?
I definitely think so.
I'm not saying it's aliens.
Not allowed to talk about that, Ricky. You've not achieved
No, I
a
don't-
high enough degree to understand what you just said.
I'm still proby.
That's right. Still a probie. All right.
I don't know.
Well, guys, it's been a fun 8 years. We're looking forward to another 8.
Wait, did I sign something? No.
No, don't think so.
Okay.
You going to be around for our next 8 years?
Hopefully.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Good.
Hope the hell I can remember my name, but I
I was going to say, we may need a chairlift to get Larry down the steps.
Marsha Johnson. Your name is Marsha Johnson.
That's right. All right. So, what we got coming up Masonically between now and the next time we record? Josh, I'm going to go to you.
I don't think I have anything really, do I?
Okay. Maybe. Okay.
Trying real hard.
All right. We'll come back to you. Ricky, how about you?
How about put out a show on Monday?
Well, this coming Friday, we have this Harrisburg Scottish Rite stated meeting. Mm-hmm. So I will be attending that as an officer of the Princes of Jerusalem. April 15th, which is Monday, we have Council's number 7 stated meeting.
Yes, we do.
And you get to have the pleasure of meeting our new thrice illustrious master, the Tim Deadman.
Also known as Tim Tim.
I didn't know that.
By him.
And my favorite of all events this coming up is the last Sunday, I believe, of the month is Uber Grotto. Ubar Grotto.
Yep.
Ubar is the Uber.
Yes,
Grotto.
there you go.
See
Well,
what you did there?
If I have enough drinks there, I'm going to ask for Uber
Yeah, there you go. That's a good idea.
from the Ubar. But
And the very best
And that's a
Uber is the Uber
Yeah.
Ubar Grotto. Uber.
Yeah. That's our ceremonial, too.
yeah, I'm very I'm anxious but nervous
Which
should be.
Which I think I'm missing.
because I saw Larry with the sword
Are
last
you
time.
really? You're missing it?
I believe I am.
Larry had the sword last time, and that was very
Scimitar.
Yeah.
The Ubaratar.
What? Oh, Ubaratar, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I will be in Punta Cana.
Ubaratar, did you say?
Ubaratar.
No, he's Larry. He
Larry said it?
Ubar.
Were you from Iowa? What?
All right. Back in line. Come on, boys. Come on.
Dad!
Jack, what do you got
He's
going on?
picking on me. What do I have going on, Masonically speaking? A Friday a week is how we say it here in Lancaster County.
Lancaster?
Friday a week, I will be attending an entered apprentice mason degree at Garibaldi Lodge in New York.
Cool.
one of the districts is having a bus, and we're all going up for that. So that should be an absolute ridiculous cool thing. So
Very nice. Larry.
I have Grotto, Tall Cedars, Ghost and Gridiron. But remember, I'm not going to be here for the next show on the 24th.
You're not going to be here for the next
And
3
I'm not going to be
shows.
here for any of the May shows. I will be out of town.
So it's a May not show.
It's a May not show, right?
Yeah, May not show.
May not Larry. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will miss it, but
We may have to have a segment, like Where's Waldo? We'll do one Where's Larry?
Well, we dropped the ball on the whole Flat Larry thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, the Flat Larry thing kind of fell flat.
It was relatively successful when you had it.
Yeah, but it's not a legacy.
To me, I
for
found it
100 years.
obnoxious, but that's besides.
Oh
the
my
Some of them
God,
were
it was too
hilarious.
funny. It was the best picture you ever.
So a couple of things that I'm doing, and then
Well,
a couple
I'm here.
of announced. Yeah, well, I'm here. On April the 17th, Eureka West Shore Lodge number 302 will host its Past Master Dinner. He's reading. Our Past Masters get together twice a year for dinner, and that's coming up. Always a fun time. On the 18th, Teutonia Lodge up in Reading will be having its Past Master recognition.
Yeah.
If you've never attended that, you should.
When is that? The 18th
The
of what?
18th of April.
April, yeah.
In
It's
75.
Thursday.
Hardly a man is now alive who remembers that famous day and year. What is that, Larry?
Of the Midnight Ride of Paul Revere.
That's it. There it is. All right.
There you go.
Saturday, the 20th, is Council of Deliberation training in Harrisburg. You'll be at that, Ricky. The 21st, Sunday, is Cigar Lodge up at Best, I believe. On the 23rd, don't forget to vote if you're in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania Election Day. I'm going to be judge of elections again in my area. The 27th, which is a Saturday, Pennsylvania Grand Council is meeting. I think that's in, where's the casino?
Parks.
No, the one up
Grantville.
It's in Grantville, I believe. No, it's at the Sheridan. It's at the Sheridan in Harrisburg.
Yeah, it's not at a casino, everybody. It's
No,
at a
it
Sheridan.
was before.
It's at Howard Johnson's.
And then the
On Highway
28th,
292 in
as was
Westfield.
previously,
Breakfast is at Denny's.
Just find the orange roof.
that's it. On the 28th, Ubar Grotto will be having its ceremonial, and for all Ubarians out there, it can only mean one thing, and that's free meat. Free meat for the night. So
It's very disturbing.
it's a free dinner.
And
Actually,
it's meat.
included. It's meat. Yeah. All right. So, guys, it's good episode. And Larry, be safe. You have to call us while you're away.
Yeah, well, we can do that.
We've got some great guests coming up, so I look forward to those. Josh, you ready to open that gate and let those chickens out?
Special thanks to Upper Lodge 665 for allowing us to continue and begin our 9th year of broadcasting from beautiful downtown Ephrata. And to Josh Lamberton, our producer and director, Jack Harley, our news director, Tim Dedman, our marketing director, to Michelle Snyder and Doug Maidenford and Austin Schifrin, Masonic Light podcast contributors, and to our listeners who always make doing this show worthwhile. And I just want to kind of finish up on a little note tonight, kind of celebrating our 8th version and beginning of the 9th. And this is for me. There is so much to know, so much to learn, so much to do before the light goes out. Everybody have a great day, and thanks for listening. This is Larry Merris.
Hey, Larry, we don't want any lights going out. Don't be turning any lights out.
Not my lights. Jeez.
I'm sure the lodge paid their
Just
electric
being
bill.
philosophical at the end of the 8th, the beginning of the night.
Oh, okay. Well,
Do
thank
your
you.
thing
Thank
before
you.
the lights go out.
All right. This is Tim. Thank you.
Don't
This
run.
is Jack. Have fun. Do good.
Absolutely.
This is Proby. God bless everyone.
We call you Probe.